Cinekyd Day 1993, and wherever he is, Ed Sullivan has to be watching and assuming that whoever programmed this particular hour has something for everyone. Not only have we had an opportunity to meet a very fine young man, and later in the hour have an opportunity to meet one of our county leaders who has for decades provided the type of example that we hope for our young people. But with me now is a very attractive young lady, Miss Cindy Montanay. I'm sorry. It's just the fact that I'll be honest with you, I'm sure you've done this before, and I've interviewed lots of children, and I have raised a number of pets, and I've worked with some of the technical staff for decades, but this is awesome. You're from the Philadelphia Zoo. And who has accompanied you today? This is a beautiful, beautiful parrot.
That's right. That's right. I guess we'll start with Jason. Jason is a scarlet macaw.
This is Jason.
This is Jason.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. Jason is a scarlet macaw, and he comes from the rainforests of Central and South America. Macaws are the largest of the parrots. And he's about almost 3 feet from the tip of his beak all the way down to his tail feathers.
How old is Jason?
We're estimating that Jason is about 15. So you have to keep in mind that these birds can live to be 80 to 90 years old in captivity.
My heavens.
So he's just kind of like an adolescent.
I'll be darned.
And spilling his oats, or he's very active.
But he doesn't seem to mind the cameras and the lights.
No, he's kind of a show-off. We recently were on Bill Cosby's You Bet Your Life, and I brought Jason with me on there, and he stole the show, as he usually does. He's very at home with lights and flashes and things of that sort. I think he's Doc Hollywood or something. He just gets a kick out of it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
He's preening right now, and that's what he does to help keep his feathers in shape.
Now, is it true with all birds that the male is the more colorful? Is that a popular misconception?
It's a misconception. With a lot of birds, that is true. The male is usually brightly colored to attract a mate, where the female is drab because she's the one that sits on the nest, and so she wants to blend in. It's a type of camouflage. With the macaws, though, both the male and the female are almost identical. And as a matter of fact, you really can't tell if it's a male or female just by looking. A lot of times they almost have to surgically sex them to find out if it's a girl or a boy.
Really?
So that makes it kind of neat. In their environment, there's a couple different theories of why they're so brightly colored. Some people say it's for camouflage. They blend into the beautiful orchids and things you find in a tropical rainforest high up in the trees. And other people say that it's to attract a mate. Now, don't tell me how they do that, because I'm not really sure if they're both the same color, but it differentiates between the blue and gold macaw or the green wing macaw, so this way the scarlets stay with the scarlets and don't interbreed, so maybe they use it for that purpose.
Jason, to be honest with you, as much as I can tell, seems to be, you're a very, very pretty boy, Jason.
Yes.
You're very, very attentive. Well, you're very welcome. And we're delighted that you're here. Yes, you're
He's dancing for us now.
Yeah, very, very pretty.
Thank you.
How do macaws deal with captivity? The fact that they're brought to this. He certainly seems to be very happy.
He's relatively content, but that's an extremely good question. A lot of people purchase these birds both legally and illegally because they're so beautiful, and they don't realize what is involved in taking care of a macaw. They're extremely difficult to take care of.
How so? How so?
In many different ways. One is the lifespan. If you do know how to take care of them, they're going to be with you maybe for the rest of your life or longer. 2 is this diet. They can't be fed little parakeets say.
Right.
They want fresh fruits and vegetables, maybe a little bit of meat for protein. They need fresh water. They need a good veterinarian, which might be hard to find because a lot of vets don't take care of these big exotic birds. And if you find one, it might have a nice price tag to go along with it.
So it's not a good idea to have something like this?
I don't recommend it unless you really research, like you should all pets, but really research what's involved in taking care of a macaw. They're very social in the wild, so they travel in large groups. And when you have one as a pet, they expect that social interaction from you. And so that can be very demanding on your time. And if they don't get that kind of love and affection, they get very destructive to your furniture, to your picture frames, and sometimes even to themselves. So I tell people to stay away from the macaw unless they are home all the time and they're really dedicated and know what they're getting themselves into.
You would almost have to build an aviary of some sort, I guess.
That would, ideally, that would be really the best way to go. A lot of people don't have that particular luxury, so they let them fly around their houses. And that can be messy and they can be destructive. But if people do take the time and the energy, they can teach teach them how to talk, and they can be very affectionate. You can touch them and pet them and things of that sort. But keep in mind is if you put them in a bad mood, they can also take your finger off. That's how incredibly strong that beak is.
Yeah, I was looking at his beak
it's
and
amazing.
Marveling at the size of it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Yes.
I would say if I had to give them some advice, I'd say please save where they come from. We need to save the tropical rainforest because they're being destroyed so quickly. And so if you like the birds, let's save their habitat. Because this is an endangered species in the wild.
Really?
Yes, it is. They steal, they shouldn't say steal is probably not the accurate word, but they believe that over 100,000 parrots, not just the macaws, are being brought into this country illegally every year. And up to 80% of those could die because of diseases and because they're stressed. So that's the problem. The demand's there because people just think they're pretty and I can teach them to say, Polly, want a cracker.
Yeah.
And because that myth goes on, this illegal trade exists, and that's a real shame.
A lovely, lovely bird.
Thank you very much.
Is Jason our only guest, or have...
No, I'd like to mention what you see on this is not just for aesthetics, but so we could discuss it briefly if we could.
Surely.
This is a Siberian tiger skin. And this is a confiscated item. You can see he's got beautiful markings. It's a beautiful cat. The Siberian tigers are the largest cats in the world. And their markings are what helps them to survive as a type of camouflage. But sometimes when you have pretty colors, you end up being on a table like this or on the floor or hang on a wall. And a lot of these tigers are poached for their pelt. And this is also an extremely endangered species in the wild. They estimate there might only be 500 to 1,000 Siberian tigers left.
Only 500 to 1,000?
Right. And that might be a high estimate. And they're losing their habitat just like the macaw is in the rainforest. It's losing its habitat in Russia. And so I brought it with me to send a message that, you know, zoos are here so that we can show people animals, get a close interaction relationship going here, but we want them to build respect that they can also use in their daily life to help these things.
There isn't, I don't think there's a parent among us, especially anybody who's grown up in the Delaware Valley, who has not enjoyed the opportunity repeatedly to share the experience of the Philadelphia Zoo. But I think this outreach program and certainly this educational program benefits all of us.
I hope
Not
so.
just the species, but I think mankind.
Well, it builds respect for each other. It builds respect for the place that you live. So I think it's not just the lessons that we learn through animals don't just stop with the animal. It goes with the human being as well. And we are animals too, and sometimes we forget that particular aspect.
Yes, we do.
So it's important that we keep that in mind. So all the way across the board, it can be a positive thing.
That's fantastic.
But I do have another friend for you if you'd like to see him.
Okay, yes. Let's take a moment here. Let's adjust our schedule.
Oh, if you would.
Did you bring your lunch, Cindy?
No, I brought my pillowcase. I'm going to take a nap here, I decided, if that's all right with you. Now, actually, this is the way I travel with one of my other good friends here. And this is a ball python. I see you leaned away.
Yes, I did, yes.
Not very fond of snakes?
No.
Oh, they're wonderful animals.
Are they really?
Oh. Have you ever touched a snake before?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
And how did it feel?
Well, we're very dry.
It's very dry.
Very dry.
That's right. It's not slimy or
no,
what.
No.
If you see a snake in your backyard, it's important to keep them around because they usually are controlling your rodent population or your insect population. So they're very good to have around.
Cindy, I would never harm a snake.
Yeah.
I would give it a wide berth, and it's certainly beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm genuinely impressed.
Thank you. This is another rainforest animal, but he comes from the rainforests of West Africa. It's a ball python. He lives up in the trees in the rainforest. So he has his problems in the wild too. But I guess I would like to encourage everybody to come out to the Philadelphia Zoo, see our new exhibits, see some of our new babies. We just had a baby gorilla born and a baby giraffe. And we have a brand new exhibit that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but it'll be something very big in June. So I hope everybody will come out to see us because this is just not for kids.
I'm just so indeed it is not. And I'm so pleased
ages.
that you could be with us.
Well,
and
thank you.
Brought Jason and what's the name?
His nickname is Monty Python.
Oh, Monty.
Not all that unique,
right.
but
and now for something completely different.
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. We appreciate the opportunity to come out.
Oh no, you have absolutely made Cinekyd Day.
Thank you.
You're so articulate and such a marvelous presenter.
Thank you. I love what I do.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky.
It shows.
Thank you.
And I think all of us have enjoyed the visit. And I'm, just kidding. Ever since I think I read the book of Genesis, I've had a great fear of snakes.
That's the problem.
I've avoided apples too.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Cindy and Jason and Monty for being with us. And what can I say? This is absolutely marvelous. And I encourage all of you to go out and visit the Philadelphia Zoo. It's not only a great place, but it is indeed a marvelous